I'm probably wrong about this, but here's something I've noticed. Everybody's mad. Not kind of mad, not a little frustrated, not mildly inconvenienced in a way that passes by lunch. Mad, full, committed, invested, deeply personal, mad about everything, all the time. Like they woke up, looked at the world, and decided, yeah, today I'm going to be furious about whatever comes through the door first, and I'm going to hold on to it like it owes me money. And I sit here genuinely baffled because I've looked around and I cannot figure out what the point is. I've done the math, I've run the numbers. Anger as a full time lifestyle doesn't pencil out. It doesn't produce results. It doesn't fix the thing. It doesn't change the other person. It doesn't get you the parking spot back. It just costs you something every single time. Let me give you a real example because this isn't theoretical. This is a thing that happens in the wild, in real time, in the parking lot of a Walmart on a Tuesday afternoon. Somebody takes your spot, or they take a spot you were clearly waiting for. Blinker on, everything. You were right there, and they just went around you and took it. And some people, a lot of people apparently, will sit in that car and boil, jaw tight, muttering. Maybe they roll the window down. Maybe they say something. Maybe they follow the person into the store and give them a look in the chip aisle 20 minutes later for a parking spot at Walmart on a Tuesday. And I want to ask, genuinely, not sarcastically, actually, sincerely, what did that accomplish? You're still parking somewhere. You're still getting your groceries. The person who took the spot is not thinking about you. They've already moved on. They're in there right now, squeezing bread and completely unbothered, but you're out here in the parking lot, rearranging your entire nervous system over 40 feet of asphalt. Now, here's the part I actually find interesting because it's not really about the parking spot. It never is. The parking spot is just the thing that was available to be mad at in that moment. It was the nearest object when the anger needed somewhere to land because the anger was already there. It was already loaded. The parking spot didn't create it, it just triggered it. And if it hadn't been the parking spot, it would have been the cart return or the self checkout or the person in front of you who had 17 items in the 15 item lane and you counted. You definitely counted. And you thought about saying something, you really did. The anger's looking for a host, and we've gotten very good at giving it one. I want to talk about the dog for a second, because this is the one that really gets me. Somebody's dog barks. Neighbor's dog doesn't matter. Dog barks. And the person in the house gets irritated, gets up, yells at the dog. Dog stops for a minute. Dog barks again. Person yells again. This goes on. This has been going on for weeks, months maybe. And at some point, I want to pull that person aside and say, listen, I need you to hear something. That dog is going to bark tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. This is established. This is a known quantity. The dog has been consistent about this. The dog has shown you exactly who it is. So what exactly is the plan here? You're going to be furious every single day at the same dog for doing the same thing it has always done. You're going to give that dog this much of your energy indefinitely. That's not a reaction anymore. That's a commitment. You've committed to being mad at that dog. You've built it into your schedule. And somewhere in there, and this is the part nobody wants to hear, you stopped being mad at the dog and started just being mad. The dog is just the excuse now. The dog is doing its job. You're the one who decided this was going to ruin your day. I know how this sounds. It sounds like the kind of thing someone says right before they tell you to meditate or buy a gratitude journal. And I want to be clear, I am not telling you to meditate. I don't know your life. Maybe the dog is genuinely terrible. Maybe the parking spot thing happens to you constantly, and there's a pattern here I'm not seeing. I'm just saying, and this is the part I actually believe, that sustained anger is one of the most expensive things a person can carry. And we're all walking around like it's free. It's not free. It costs you sleep. It costs you presence. It costs you the 20 minutes after the parking spot when you could have been fine, but you weren't, because you were still back there, still in the lot, still thinking about that person squeezing bread somewhere in aisle 6, completely unbothered. You paid for that anger. You funded it out of your own peace, and you got nothing back on that investment. Here's the thing about getting older that nobody really tells you. And I say this as someone who has spent years being wrong about a lot of things and has the receipts to prove it. One of the actual benefits, maybe the only clean benefit, because the rest of it is questionable at best, is that things stop getting to you the way they used to. Not because you stopped caring, not because you became numb or checked out or gave up on things mattering, but because you've lived long enough to see that most of the things you were furious about 5 years ago, most of them, not all of them, but most, resolved themselves. Or they didn't, and you survived anyway. Or they turned out to be completely different things than you thought they were. And you start to develop a kind of internal calculator. Before you spend the energy, you run it real quick. Is this going to matter in a week, a month, 5 years? Is my blood pressure a reasonable price for this? Is this fight worth what it's going to cost me to have it? And sometimes the answer is yes. There are things worth being angry about, real things. Things that deserve your full attention and your complete fire. Save it for those. Because when you spend it on parking spots and dogs, you've got nothing left when something actually shows up that deserves it. The thing I keep coming back to, and I've been wrong about plenty, so take this for what it is that most of the anger I see out there isn't really about what it says it's about. It's not about the parking spot. It's not about the dog. It's not about the person who cut you off on the highway, or the coworker who didn't say good morning, or the celebrity who said something stupid on the internet. It's about something else, something older and heavier that doesn't have a face or a parking spot or a name. And because that thing is hard to locate and harder to talk about, we hand its energy to whatever's in front of us, and the world becomes the dog, just barking at us every day. And we keep yelling back, and it keeps barking, and we call that living. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I've gotten to a point where I'd rather let the dog bark and go back inside and drink my coffee. And honestly, the coffee's better that way. Anyway, I'm probably wrong.